Presidential Lecture Series. And tonight our lecture features the Honorable Jackalyne Pfannenstiel, who is the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Energy Installations and the Environment. Let's give her a round of applause. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce some of our distinguished guests that we have with us in the audience tonight. And beginning with the Vice Chairman of our Board of Regents, Dr. Chris Perez. Where are you, Dr. And from our University Administration, of course, we have our President, Robert Underwood. Our Senior Vice President, Dr. Helen Whippy. And our Acting Assistant Vice President, Dr. John Peterson. I would also like to give a warm round of applause to the Honorable Bayani Mercado, Consul General of the Philippines. Welcome. Very exciting times happening in the Philippines right now. On the military side of the house, we have Mr. John Jackson, who is the Director of the Joint Guam Program Office. And a familiar face here at the University of Guam, it seems like. And I'd also like to introduce Captain Lynch, who is the Commanding Officer of NAVFAC. And knows a lot about energy. And also I'd like to welcome Maria Connolly, who is the Director of the Guam Department of Labor. You know, I missed it because I can see close with my glasses, but not far. Our Dave O'Brien is our Vice President of Administration and Finance. Hi, Dave. Okay. Just a note, so what will happen is we've got Luis Tobas and Dave Okada, and they will have 3x5 cards, and they'll pass them out to the audience. And if you have a question, you can jot that question down, and then I will ask those questions of the Assistant Secretary at the end of her presentation. And so that's the way it's going to go. We'll probably have time for about 3 to 5 questions at the end of the speech because she's had a very busy day. It's been all over the news, and I'm sure a busy evening to come. So without further ado, I would like to call up to the podium Robert Underwood, the 10th President of the University of Guam.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Buenas, Hapaday, todo santo. It's a distinct pleasure and honor to welcome Assistant Secretary Pfannenstiel. We had to practice her name, repeatedly to the University of Guam. She's been recently appointed the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Energy Installations and Environment, and my understanding is that the title of that portfolio has changed since she's become Assistant Secretary to include energy. She is a former chair of the State of California Energy Commission, a state regulatory body with authority over power plant licensing, building and appliance efficiency standards, and energy policy development. And of course, just recently, I think on Monday, the governor signed an executive order including the university as co-chair to develop the energy policy for the island of Guam. And prior to her role at the Energy Commission, Secretary Pfannenstiel has served as an independent energy consultant, and she also spent 20 years with Pacific Gas and Electric Company and its parent PG&E Corporation. She comes to Guam at a very propitious time as we are all concerned about the nature of the development of the island, and I believe she'll have some very interesting ideas about how we can work together towards one green Guam. So I present to you the Honorable Jackalyne Pfannenstiel.
Today, Dr. Underwood, the University of Guam faculty and students, distinguished guests, thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. This is my first trip to Guam, and I have to tell you how much I appreciate the hospitality and warm welcome that I've received in the now fewer than 24 hours that I've been here. On this trip, I'm going to have the opportunity to meet with many of Guam's elected representatives and community leaders. Today, I spent time with Governor Camacho and Lieutenant Governor Cruz, and tomorrow I'll meet with members of the legislature and several village mayors. These discussions are very important. The future of Guam is a shared one between your community and our men and women in uniform. Only by working together will we make sure that the future is a bright one. Before I begin, though, I'd like to extend my condolences to the family and friends of John Berger. Unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to meet Sergeant Berger, but I'm aware of his contributions to the community and to the Marine Corps. He truly exemplified the Marine Corps ethos of honor, courage, and commitment through his hosting and sponsorship of Marine units training in Guam over the years, and his dedication to sharing the history of the Marines in Guam through his specific War Museum. He lived the motto Semper Fi, as he was always faithful by taking care of the Marines and their families who have visited or lived in Guam. From the Commandant on down, he made a lasting impression on all Marines, past and present, who knew him. He will be missed. I recently joined the Department of the Navy as the Assistant Secretary. In fact, I've been there just under 2 months now. There are many responsibilities that come with this role, including the Guam military relocation, and that's my top priority. Getting it done right for the community at large is essential. Throughout the planning process for the relocation, we partnered with Guam's agencies to develop the environmental impact statement, worked with Governor Camacho in identifying and prioritizing Guam's infrastructure needs, and heard from members of the community regarding our plans and their concerns. Collaboration and communication will be even more important as we get ready to begin the next phase, during which our planning will turn to action. The magnitude and scope of the military alignment on Guam is certainly robust, and with any major change comes uncertainty, concern, and anticipation. That's why I'm visiting Guam this week, to hear firsthand of these concerns, address any questions, and find out how we can work on these issues together. We officially launched our planning for the relocation effort over 3 years ago, with the start of the process required by the National Environmental Policy Act of developing an environmental impact statement, or an EIS. Some of you may have provided comments during our scoping process, and these comments helped to shape what we studied in our EIS. We released the draft EIS in November of last year in order to again seek comments. We received nearly 10,000 public comments on the draft EIS from federal and local agencies, elected officials, and interested citizens. Thank you for those of you who took the time to review and comment on the draft EIS. I know it was a significant task. I will underscore the point that the draft EIS is just that, a draft. And so these comments will be invaluable to us in helping prepare an accurate, complete picture of the impact of military realignment on Guam's resources and community. All the comments are being carefully considered as we develop the final EIS. As you can imagine, receiving so many comments, reviewing and incorporating so many comments, is a major undertaking, but it's one that is essential for the process. We collected inputs that help us correct facts and figures, and some that were of significant complexity. Some of these complex issues are going to require some additional analysis, and some require decisions from the Department of Defense leadership and our interagency partners. We're also working with local agencies to help develop thorough resolutions to the issues. And as we do, we will update you on how we're handling